What is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is a fire sign, impulsive, soulful, active energy. Fire signs are masculine energy, so they direct their energy outward. And out of all the elements, fire signs are the most outgoing. Sagittarius is also a mutable sign. They're great at adapting to their environment, absorbing different perspectives, learning what they can, and then imparting that knowledge to others. Because of this, mutable signs are very good with the flow and flexible. They constantly want to understand things, people, situations, and ideas. And sometimes they can find themselves changing their ideas from one day to the next. Guess what my sign is? Sagittarius! With Sagittarius, we are now in a new zodiac stage, the spiritual stage. So, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer made up the survival stage. Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio made up the social stage. And now we're back to fire with Sagittarius, and we are in the spiritual stage, which is the last stage of the zodiac cycle. The spiritual stage, being the last stage of the zodiac cycle, is kind of like the last stage of life. As you get older, you start to think about what is the meaning of life. You get away from the survival needs and the social needs, and you get more into a need of a bigger picture wisdom that you want so that you can understand what happens after we die. Spiritual stage signs love to see the big picture, the bird's eye view of life. And it's a little harder for them to see the smaller details of life because they're very, very focused on the universal understanding. So Sagittarius is a mutable sign, a fire sign, and in the spiritual stage of astrology. For them, expressing their soulful and cosmic ideas in a fiery way is all about the meaning of what life is. If they can't teach others of what they know, share their worldly beliefs and ideas, and experience what the whole world has to offer, they will feel not only bored and uninspired, but they will fall fast from their high spiritual plateau. Sagittarius is known as the centaur and the mystical cowboy. Plain and simple, a Sagittarius needs to be moving. They love to be in transit, whether it's a car, a plane, or a subway train, because it means two things for them when they're traveling. Number one, they can teach and preach their message and beliefs to more than one person. They can expand their audience. And number two, they can meet new people, learn new cultures and new ways of life, which gives them more authentic knowledge for their inspirations. So travel is one of the biggest themes for a Sagittarius. Another big theme for Sagittarius is honesty. You will always see what a Sagittarius is feeling and thinking right on their face. They don't really have a filter, but they also hate anything that comes off fake. They want to get to the depth, the real truth of things, situations, and people. A Sagittarius would much rather go to China to learn about the truth of the culture and to experience it firsthand, rather than reading a book about China and taking the author's word for it. But if a book is all they can afford, they'll take what they can get. Sagittariuses love words. They love reading, writing, speaking, you name it. For them, it's not about the structures or the sentences of words. It's more the meaning behind those words. Because of this, Sagittariuses make up their own words. They have their own language. And they don't like when people try to correct them with their grammar or their definitions, because for them they don't really care about all that. That's the surface, right? That's the structure. They want the meaning, the depth, the truth, the story. So their fire energy is what creates that fast moving speed of their personality and their energy. And then their spiritual stage energy makes them see the big picture of the universe and makes it kind of hard for them to see more of the details of things. So you take this speed and this big picture wisdom that they have, and sometimes they can come off kind of messy in their verbiage, telling long stories, talking for hours, using incorrect grammar or punctuation, having no filter and being blunt as anyone can be. But they don't care. They don't really care how crazy and messy they sound. Their intention is not to be perfect. Their intention is to express their authentic message, and it's the meaning they want people to take away from it. Sagittarius's two main themes are religion and education. But let's really get this straight. Sagittariuses need space and freedom. As I said before, they love to be moving, and they need the feeling of wide open spaces. This is why they love nature and hate structure. They are completely and totally in the moment with everything they do. Because of this, they aren't the biggest fan of traditional establishments like schools and churches and cubicles. They aren't fond of the idea of being tied down in any way, especially from having a boss or a teacher or some religious doctrine that's stifling their expression and their truth. Or maybe it's the government. The government is suppressing who they really are. It's very dramatic. So, Sagittarius likes to make their own rules, and they like to break them. Sagittariuses want to learn, and they want to pray, and they want to work, but they want to do all those things in a really fun, philosophical way. And they want to do it where they're in the experience of it, not behind a cubicle, stuck behind a computer in a cubicle, trying to figure it out. They want to be out there on the mountaintop, praying, meditating, meeting the people in the village. They want to get out there. They want to be there, right? Not stuck, not confined. So you might find them in the schools and the churches, but they're going to be going their own way. They're going to be carving their own path. They're going to be working outside of the box. Okay, so know that when you think about the themes of Sagittarius. It's education with a twist. It's spirituality outside of the church, that kind of thing. The negatives of Sagittarius. One negative of Sagittarius is their problems with procrastination. Like I said before, Sagittariuses need their space and freedom. And they also just kind of want to have fun. So sometimes this mixture of things can just make them plain lazy. Love to snuggle up in some PJs and just be in the moment with no obligations or time constraints. They hate being rushed. So all of this kind of just makes them end up avoiding all that responsibility. And instead they just want to play and have chill time. Plus, like I said before, details are kind of hard for a Sagittarius. Have this big picture wisdom and ideas, and they see them so crystal clear, and they just want so badly to take action on them, but they think, wow, how do I get the leap from that gigantic idea to step one of what I have to do to complete it? And it kind of overwhelms them and exhausts them and makes them just start to get like confused and dazed, and then they're just like, let's just watch Project Runway. Like let's just take a nap. So that kind of can get in the way of them getting their message out there and getting their wisdom heard. Another negative is their messiness and clumsiness. Like I said before, they charge through with so much speed because of their fire energy. They don't really think before they speak. This makes them super clumsy. They trip, they fall, they put their foot in their mouth. They say way too much and hurt people's feelings. And a lot of times their clumsiness can make for really great comedy. Their friends get a really good laugh. But for a Sagittarius deep inside, they can feel embarrassed. Because the funny thing is, they're out there taking these journeys and finding this truth, and they're actually like really serious individuals. They have such an epic message that they want to get out and be heard. And then when they fall flat on their face and their friends are cracking up because they just think, oh, my Sagittarius friend is like the funny one that, says all these crazy ideas and falls flat on their face. For the Sagittarius, it's like devastating. Like now they're not going to hear me. Now they're not going to hear what I had to say, kind of thing. And on the same token, they really need to think before they speak and be sensitive to other people's feelings as well. Sometimes their need for truth and authenticity and honesty makes them preach way too much honesty, and that ends up hurting people's feelings in the end. They can also be pretty passionate about their perspective, and they're very adaptable. They're very open-minded and go with the flow. So it's not that they can't change perspectives. It's just that they're so excited and want to just teach so badly their perspective that sometimes they'll be like, your perspective, it can wait, my perspective. So sometimes they can be a little stubborn in that. And the last negative for Sagittarius is that their flexibility and their adaptability sometimes create chaos in their life. They have a hard time figuring out sometimes what they want to do with their life. They get so bored so easily that they find a hard time committing to one job, one relationship, one home, one belief, one perspective. They face commitment issues too because they hate that feeling of claustrophobia and they get bored very easily. So over time, a relationship can make them feel super confined and super bored. They need constant mental stimulation. So they really need to find that right person and that right career that keeps them on their toes, keeps them moving, keeps them growing and learning and thinking deeply, and also knows to give them that space they so desperately need. This is also why Sagittarius is known as the loner sign of the zodiac. Because they need the freedom and the space, also because a lot of times they feel very misunderstood. They're coming off a little brash, a little honest, a little messy, a little blunt, and they're trying to communicate this big picture, innovative idea that some people don't really understand. People can think they're weird, frankly. So this will make the Sagittarius just want to be alone. So they can retreat and just kind of enjoy their own company. Well, obviously, one positive is they're really great at being alone. They love being able to go off to a coffee shop and read a book and spend time with themselves. They're great at that. They're great at doing their own thing and going their own way. And they are some of the most brilliant minds of our time. They are the epic philosophers, teachers, and preachers of our world. Sagittariuses have this magical talent of understanding what life is and explaining it to others with such wisdom and storytelling grace. It's like they're the universe whisperers. They're also the most fun to be around and the funniest people. They have crazy energy. They have a chill hippie lurking inside, and they have this unique poetic language they use to express their ideas. And if you need a travel buddy, they're the best ones to choose. Sagittarius is the teacher of the zodiac. They teach in many other ways than just the classroom. They teach through cooking, through painting, through fitness, through travel, you name it. However, music, art, and performing is their favorite way to do it. Now, where a Leo performs and is on stage because they love the spotlight and they love making people laugh, Sagittarius performs for the thrill of the story and the lesson that it teaches to their audience. In order to understand each sign, you have to know the opposite sign. The opposite sign of Sagittarius is Gemini. Both signs are mutable energy, adaptable, flexible learners and perceivers. But where Sagittarius is fire, Gemini is air. And where Sagittarius is in the spiritual stage of astrology, Gemini is in the survival stage of astrology. So where Sagittarius is traveling, meditating on the mountaintop, and getting ready to write their latest song, Gemini is coasting on the surface, marketing and schmoozing, and alphabetizing their cyclopedias. For Sagittarius, it's about the soulful, impulsive, bigger picture wisdom of life. And for Gemini, it's about the mental, logical, self ideas in order for survival. Geminis present themselves with poise and professionalism, keeping to the surface to sell their ideas to the local community. Where Sagittarius comes off brash, messy, and even clumsy at times, so they can passionately express true meaning of the universe, to break free of worldly limitations and get to the honest core truth beyond the local community to the world. The Gemini needs the Sagittarius, and the Sagittarius needs the Gemini. Sagittariuses need that filter and professional banter that Geminis can teach them. And Gemini needs Sagittarius to get them out of their heads and into their hearts so they can experience learning in a larger worldly sense instead of being so stuck in their textbook facts all the time. Thank you so much for watching my 9th video in my sun sign video series. I will have videos for you every week. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and tell all your friends. Please come over to my website, natalbirthchart.com, to get your birth chart read. It's truly amazing to see what your spiritual blueprint looks like. Goodbye, everyone.